Okay, constituting a quorum, I'd like to call to order the monthly meeting of the Recreation and Parks Board for the city of Port Lavaca. The first item we have on our agenda is general discussion and hear statements from citizens. Any general discussion?
There's no one online.
And I'd like to announce that the next meeting, mark your calendars please, will be March 25th at noon, right here. With that said, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Item 2, approve minutes from the regular meeting held January 19th, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second that. Motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All righty, so moving on to item 3, receive monthly inspections report from the Public Works Department. Those are attached to our packet. Anybody have anything to comment about those?
And, I mean, there's several items in here rust related. Wayne is not feeling good, that's why he's not here, but, we'll check up with them and make sure that they've got a plan or start, make sure we put enough money in next year's budget, if we don't have it this year, to replace some of the stuff that's rusted out.
Anybody have any questions or comments about anything? Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 4, receive update on park assignments from park board members. Greg?
Actually, other than the traffic going by the park looks good. I mean, I like to see it a little better for pictures from
Which park?
seniors and
Which
all
park?
that. Sterling Park,
Okay.
yeah. But it's looking good.
All righty, I don't have anything to report at Bayfront, so I'm still, my wife is generally not letting me drive yet because of recovering from my foot injury, but so I haven't had a chance to even take a drive.
I need to replace those flags there, but I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So that, by that time, we should come in closer to Memorial Day. Or Easter. I'm trying to stretch it out as much as I can on the flag.
Yeah, drove by the Clare Crossing, I guess you can call it, and Butterfly Park. They're both no changes from the last month. I would like to see some little upgrade around the Butterfly Park.
Yeah, I
those
was
are-
gonna mention, and I didn't get any specifics, but there was a comment on Facebook, just said to fix the park, but I don't know what that meant, so.
Well, if you compare it to the Clare one, it's
Well, I mean,
old.
Well, they're 20 years different.
Yeah, they're-
Yeah.
There is a lot of rust around some of the stuff, and it's just old.
Yeah, I mean, it was
and
back in
then-
2006.
Yeah, and then there's some like bedding plants, I guess, and there's no plants in them. It's just kind of weeds and a lot of the brush over there.
I haven't been over there, so.
They're all dead, basically.
And we do have money budgeted this year for the fence, which we were gonna get
Mhm.
started on that.
Can I take pictures of it and then give it, would I
Yes,
send them to you
send
or?
it to Wayne.
Or Wayne? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
okay, perfect.
From what I can see with Lighthouse is pretty good. I haven't done a real thorough one at Lighthouse Beach in a few weeks. And Wilson Park, of course, the road's always bad with the potholes. It's horrible. And that electrical plug outside between the men's restroom and the old concession stand, still missing a cover. I mean, there's a lot of people there. And that Rotary Club bench by the playground, that thing's like literally on the ground, it's so sunken in.
Wait, what is that?
The bench at the playground, the Rotary Club bench, it's like literally
Oh,
like,
the
it's,
playground?
yeah, but to take a break at the bench, the Rotary Club put there,
Okay,
that, it's like so sunken in, it's like almost on the ground.
and you said there was an electrical
There's a plug outlet, there's an outlet outside where the,
on the restaurant, the concession stand?
yeah, in the back sets down where the air condition goes, where the old lights used to be on that maintenance door. There's a plug there, it's just missing a base, it's missing a cover.
Okay,
That's just some of these, basic fix.
and you mentioned that last month, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
And I actually looked this morning, the same thing. And of course, I still got that cable or something to cover that little gate out there in the field, because, with the traffic, it's still something that's still open. And then there's a set of bleachers right there by the small field, kind of by the third base side. That first row is like bent over. I don't know how they did that, but it's like literally caved in. I was messing with it. I was like, you hate to move a set of bleachers, but I don't know if it's a quick fix, but I couldn't tell. It just needs a little weed eating around there, but it's bowed in. Like,
Okay.
that'd be, I don't know. Other than that, just those little minor things. Wilson's looking good.
All righty, well, thank you. Thanks to all of you. All righty, the next item on the agenda is item 5, receive financial status report on the Parks and Recreation Department. Anything to highlight there, as far as you know, Jody?
No, not that I can think of.
Presumably, we're just on track.
We haven't started any of the big dollar items yet. I don't believe. I don't think so. I mean, but unless you guys, look at it and see if you have any questions.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is item 6, receive monthly report on Lighthouse Beach RV Park and Campground.
Okay, well, I'll go over this and then you can. In your packet is, kind of a report we're trying to put together each month. I think, our efforts are starting to show some fruit. If you notice, so far in February, our revenue was $7,250, and February last year was just $2,600. And the occupancy is 21% versus only 4% this time last year. So, and you can see that, we're making a more concerted effort to, you try to get more positive reviews and Google stars on Google, which, as we understand, is something that a lot of people looking for RV parks as tourists go to decide where to go. And so you can see that, as of today, we've gotten 2 new reviews on Google than we had when we met in December. And when we met last month, review in December. And the number of overall Google stars, we were at 4.3, and where we were at 4.2 for a very long time. So we're making progress there. In January, there was over 5,000 prospect leads with over 200, that was prospects and over 200 leads. And remember the definitions, the prospects are the number of times that our website link was shown to users on Google, regardless of whether they clicked it or not. And then the leads is how many people went on the website after looking at Google. And then, of course, then you translate into the number of actual reservations that came out of that, which in January was 26, and so far in February we've had 23. So that kind of helps show that a presence with Google is, what kind of impact that's having. You have a whole bunch of people that initially see it, that comes down to people that actually go to our website after seeing it on Google, and then finally the number that actually it translates into an actual reservation. And so, I mean, I think everybody knows, but if you don't, this is Jen Roy. She is, our, camp host that lives full-time at the campground. And you want to share with them what your, some of the marketing that we're doing?
Yeah, so like Jody said, we're trying to get our Google stars up. So this is something I just started last weekend. It's just a little welcome packet. So whenever people come into the park, they're all gonna be different. They're all gonna highlight something going on in the city or in the park itself. And if you look on the back of the label, that QR code will take them directly to the review site.
So yeah, you wanted to go on there and give the Lighthouse Beach RV Park a positive review, you can do it yourself. You don't have to be anybody can do it. Somebody that goes out there and walks,
Yes.
whatever can do that.
And I have teamed up with Tanya and the Chamber of Commerce, and they're gonna get us some laminated, like little brochures to put in there. And it's one side will highlight the park, and then the other side will highlight all other things in the area to do. So it will also benefit local businesses as well.
Good. I like this.
It looks nice.
See,
Okay, so that's one thing that I have going. Another is, y'all have all seen them, the great big chairs that can fit 2 or 3 people in them, and you take pictures for Facebook or Snapchat. I have the material donated and I have the labor donated to have one of those placed in the park. I do have a friend that's going to paint it. He's actually going to paint the QR code on there as well. So every time somebody puts that picture on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever social, that QR code is going to come up.
awesome.
And that is going to, I think that's going to really help get us some people.
Where do you think you're gonna put that at?
As you're coming into the park, we've got the bird station here and then the pavilion here. I'm thinking right in between. And I've already kind of mapped it out to where when they take the picture, they get a view of the water, the bird tower, and the walkway, all in one picture. All I'm waiting on now is for the streets department to finish up whatever project they're on so that they can come pour me the slab, because the chair will have to be bolted down or it will walk away.
There's a bench right there where you're talking about.
Yes, a little bit farther down.
That's before you go up the stairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a
about
lot-
halfway between the
yeah,
bench
it's
and
a
that
little
walkway.
Grassy area.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and there's no stickers there, so,
Yeah,
I think that'd be a wonderful place to put it.
it is.
Okay, so that's all I have for the marketing. I did something on my own. Last spring and summer, I had so many phone calls, people wanting to do an impromptu get married on the beach.
Yep.
And they didn't have anybody I didn't know anybody that would marry them. I am now ordained. And I did talk to a county judge.
Be against the law, man.
I did talk to a county judge, and she is also our mayor of my hometown. And she says, as long as I am not on the clock for the city, this has nothing to do with the city. It's just something to kind of help the park out.
That's awesome.
Just want to let y'all know. Okay.
I'll send you my worst enemies.
No refunds.
Charging for that, to get married on the beach?
I haven't decided if I want to do donations or not.
But it wouldn't be to the city,
Yes.
charge everywhere else.
That's gonna be a first. We gotta put that on Google.
All righty. Anything else on?
Anybody got any questions about anything going on down there?
No, it looks like we're making some progress, just as a comment, and it looks like we've got some things going that may help promote it.
And I will, and I want to add to this, to keep up with, how much the revenue we're generating at the kiosk. Wayne's the one that has that can easily pull that information up. But like I said, I hadn't had a chance to do this, and he was not feeling well today, so we went home, so he did not have that, but I'm gonna try to add that to that report so we can keep up with that.
Okay, thank y'all for the report. Sounds good. We're moving ahead. Item 7, consider providing free admission to Lighthouse Beach Park to disabled veterans.
Yes.
Yeah, I had, a disabled vet, come speak with me a week or so ago and, made the comment that, as a disabled vet, he can get into any state or federal park in the United States without, paying admission.
That's true.
So was wondering, if we would entertain that, and I said, that's something we can bring the Parks Board and see if that's something we want to do, and then we could recommend to council. I would think the way we would work that is they would, come get a pass here, and they just wouldn't have to pay it. They got an ID that shows.
Jody, there's a way. I know I go to the hospital in Austin and they have a Kiak or Kaizen. And you put your driver's license in there. So if you're disabled or a disabled veteran, you don't pay the fee. That thing goes up and you go through. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know whether you'd be able to do that, the kiosk. I can ask
Yeah, there's a way. I know.
There's a way they can do it, the kiosk.
Yeah. When you park in any of the park garages in Houston or Austin or whatever, you put your driver's license in there.
Okay.
They want your ID. And if your driver's license says that you're disabled or a handicapped person, then you don't pay the fee for the parking garage.
Okay. But I think the first thing we would need would be a recommendation from the Parks Board to council to do this. And then we can figure out, physically how we do it, but.
I'll make the motion that we do it.
Before we make that motion, I'd like to comment.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to this at all, okay? But do we potentially open a can of worms with other classifications of people seeking similar benefits?
I mean, I don't know, that came up because this is apparently a practice of other state and federal parks. For disabled vets. I'm not aware of any other, class that's like that. But that's, again, I can look into that and see if there's other classes that are free in federal and state parks, but.
I can see some potential pitfalls in this, but maybe they just get addressed as they come at us. Again, I'm not opposed to it. I have concerns about the
And I think, again,
potential pitfalls.
in my mind, what we're leaning on is the fact that the state and the federal government do this with their parks, and so.
They're free to veterans over 50% handicapped, and also veterans, so like
This
I've
would
gone
be
to
veterans, this is only disabled veterans, as I
Yeah.
understand it.
So if you go to any park like with me and I give them my driver's license and it goes in there and it shows up, no fee. Yeah, and I can stay up to a week or 2 weeks, if we're gonna run a campground, whatever.
But like I said, it's not just veterans, you have to be a designated disabled veteran, and it shows on your driver's license that you're a disabled veteran.
All righty, then, who wants to make a
I make the
motion?
motion.
All right, Greg's gonna make the motion that we support this endeavor. Second?
Second.
What seconds? All right, all in favor of the motion,
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
And before I take it to council, I will look in and see if there happen to be any other categories, that state and local, state and federal parks also.
All righty, so we've just passed that we're gonna recommend to council that they consider approving it.
Yeah.
All righty, thank y'all. Item 8 on the agenda, discuss preliminary public draft of the Recreation and Parks Trails Master Plan prepared by LJA Architects.
I think everybody got a copy of this the last meeting. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to at least go through it. We do wanna, schedule another meeting with LJA to kind of go over any comments. I know I've got a few comments, myself, but again, looking for anything from y'all, because I may miss stuff. And I think some of the main things I wanna make sure we don't miss in this, if there's any improvements, big improvements or new parks, areas, anything like that that you think we should be looking at, we wanna make sure we include this in the plan. I mean, they've got several areas for proposed parks and suggested improvements, but if there's anything you've got in mind, you've been thinking we need to do, it's not in here now, we need to include that. And actually I was, I haven't had a chance to read it word for word, myself, and going through that now, but we'll look at City Park and see about, what kind of dialogue or text we can have in there regarding Ashley Field and making improvements there. Anything else, if you can think of any trails that you've had in mind that we might have in parks. Like I said, I've got some ideas I want to share with them. One of them, just so you guys know, at Wilson Park, they're just on the opposite side of the ditch at Wilson Park, there's a wooded area. Well, Equalizers recently purchased, it's a real weird piece of property, it's a long skinny piece of property, and they don't really need the northern portion of that property that basically we can see from Wilson Park. So we're working with them to hopefully have an out and out donation, and we may, come down to paying something, but at this point, we're kind of hoping for a donation of some of that acreage, which is at most, we're talking about 3 acres. So somewhere between 2.5 to 3 acres of this wooded area, to where down the road, we can build a pedestrian bridge over Corporation Ditch. And then our trail, because eventually we'll have a perimeter trail around Wilson Park, and that trail could go across this bridge, and we could have a little wooded area trail meander back in that 3 acres, and then come back over the bridge. So that's one little area that I wanna make sure we've got in there.
It's a good area.
We've got, in there, they do have the, kitchen track, that we're looking at making a park out of. That's the one I can think of right now that I know they do have in there. But those are the kind of things that we really wanna make sure that we're not overlooking something. So, I mean, does anybody have any comments for me today that I can get back to them right now? If not, then the next step is gonna be scheduling a time here soon that we can all meet again to go over this. I don't honestly know if it's gonna be a joint meeting with Parks and Council or just another community meeting where we all, look at this one last time and make comments before they finalize everything.
I know at one time we had looked at that to make a walking trail as you go into that baseball park, up to that big ditch before you cross it over.
Mhm.
And then put a walking trail all the way down, and it'll meet up with the railroad tracks over there. But clean that area up where,
Wait, you're talking about within like the access way of
Yeah.
Corporation Ditch?
Yeah.
And go back by Austin Street Market?
yes. just
Yes,
Go on up,
yeah.
and then you could make the loop,
Right,
go around and come back to Wilson Park if you wanted to do
yeah,
that.
I put that on something, I'll look and make sure that is included in here too.
But clean that up, and under the trees and all that, and you put little park benches,
Yeah.
and we'll go see picnics, whatever. And around Easter time, of course, kids will be looking for places to go.
And another area that will potentially be some park land, I would think, is, we're looking at building a detention pond off of Half League Road, just north of the railroad track. It's on the west side of, where Mahan comes into Half League Road, that piece of land right in there. we're hoping to be able to put a detention pond there, and if we put a detention pond, then the perimeter of the detention pond will have like a walking trail around it. And park benches and that sort of thing, and it will tie into, and that's another thing I need to make sure they've got in here, is the rails to trails deal. I know I told them about that, I haven't read it in here yet, but we're trying to purchase the right of way of Union Pacific Railroad from Halfley all the way to the Commerce. And so in that, we would have shared use path for walking, biking, from, that would go around the detention pond, then go back to Commerce Street. And
Jody, where we have some wasted property is down Mahan Street as you get to the old railroad tracks.
that is,
Behind the city warehouse, and all, it's called Railroad Street, also goes up. I
right,
mean, that's,
it's,
I don't know who
that's
owns
what
it.
we're trying to purchase, that it belongs to
does
Union,
Sam Silva own that?
no, it's Union Pacific Railroad.
Who?
Union Pacific Railroad owns that. And so
All the
that,
way up behind the city, wow.
yeah, I mean, everything, the, up, it's kind of like a spur point that comes
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
yes.
But there used to be a cutoff in the driveway. As a matter of fact, Steve and I caught a whole bunch of drugs down there.
But yes, that's,
Our kids go hide there.
and we've been talking to Union Pacific for at least 4 years. We have an agreed sales price, they've agreed to sell it to us. The holdup was that there is a TCQ investigation on that piece of property. Because I think whoever leased, at one point leased that metal building that's on there,
Yeah,
you know, probably
Used to be
dumped some
Millwhite.
oil out on the ground or something. So there's, I don't think it's a big deal, but it's still a process that takes.
there was some spillage there because Millwhite and Baroid used to own that property, so they spilled a lot of well.
I don't think they ever owned it, they
No,
probably were leasing it.
they were leasing it from. As a matter of fact, even Kingfisher back at one time had property there.
So
I
that's the holdup, we can't buy that until that gets taken care of.
It's gotta be cleaned up.
Right, but, and so that's where we're at with Union Pacific Railroad. But we are planning on purchasing it at some point. Last I talked to them, they were actually trying to work out a deal where we could go ahead and lease it,
Yeah,
everything except that portion. They don't wanna deal with that one
because of
until.
the environmental,
Right.
yeah.
Right, but, yeah, we wanna make sure that potential, trail is put in this plan as well. The linear park that is, around the depot that goes from Virginia to Commerce, it is for sure in the park, cause it's part of the downtown master plan. So those are the kind of things, that bottom line, if there's anything, you know, again, look through this real quick and if you've got any ideas about something and you see it is not in here, let me know so we can make sure we can put it in there. Because this is what I'm saying is, we're gonna use this document to then go to Parks and Wildlife to get grant funds. But if we have a project and it's not in our plan,
Yeah.
they're gonna say, well, what do you need money for? You weren't even planning for doing this, you know? And that's not to say down in the future we can amend the plan, sure, but it's better if we have it in here to start with.
Well, I kinda like that material that I went through.
Yeah,
That's good. I mean, that's some awesome planning stuff that we've lacked a long time.
okay. So what I will do, I mean, if you guys will do that for me, and then I'll get back with LJA and we'll set something up here soon to either get us back together or go ahead and set up another community meeting. And, you know, I'll get with you to kind of, we wanna really promote it. And, you know, we've had okay participation from the public so far. I would like to have more than okay, but it's really hard, I know, to get people involved, but we'll try.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't tack some of that kind of thing onto as a side offering for some other community event that's already
Well, you
planned.
know, I mean, now that you mentioned that, I was just thinking, I mean, I could probably have something set up you know, maybe the art walk, you know, where people can,
That's coming up real soon.
yeah, that's next, not this week. What is that? That's next weekend, right? Yeah,
I know it's within the next
not this weekend.
weeks, and then I guess the next event after that's gonna be Iguana.
Yeah.
And that,
One Fest people probably don't care about this stuff, but there are rock people probably. So I'll get with Tanya and see if maybe we can, because I'm gonna be here that weekend, we may be able to do something like that. 'Cause we did have a booth at the community fair back in, when was that, October? And there's 2 events we had in the fall that we did have a booth at. But yeah, the art walk would be good.
okay. Anything else on item 8? All righty, thank you. Moving on to the item 9 is receive update on ongoing 2025, 2026 capital improvement projects.
Okay, I put this on for 2 reasons. One, to kind of keep you guys informed, and also so you can help push staff, let's get some of this stuff done. So first, what we put in this year's capital improvement plan was the Butterfly Park fence, which, there's not been any, work done on that yet, but that is something, Wayne is starting to look into. Again, I don't remember how, I think we got 15,000 or so budgeted, and getting some prices and figure out how much of that we can do. And what we had talked about before, I think what I was envisioning is like this, like brick, maybe a brick footer with wrought iron.
Like a knee-high wall or something
Yeah.
like that,
And
a
then-
brick, and then the wrought iron
Yeah.
above that.
Yeah, and so that'll, and however much we can pay of that, have it the middle and go out on either side, and then our gate would still be wooden beyond that, so we're not trying to purchase a wrought iron gate in this system, because I think that's
Right,
too much, and keep the
Yeah.
gate system within the wood.
plus it would help the aesthetics too.
Yeah, so that's, we are starting to work
Big
on
word.
that. The, Wilson Park covered basketball court, Wayne did speak with, Matt Glaze with Urban Engineering. They're gonna help us in getting some of the plans together for that. First thing we need to do is get a soil bore, so we can finalize the design of the, foundation. I did email, Matt Monday, I haven't heard back to, see, so I know exactly what all we need to ask for in the soil bore. So we've got that starting, up here soon. The raised crosswalk sidewalk from splash pad to the restrooms at Lighthouse Beach, we'll just be doing the design internally, and I just haven't had time to do that, though it is on my list to get done soon. The cabanas at Lighthouse Beach splash pad, I believe Wayne has been talking with, Parks Department about getting that going. The Lighthouse Beach Shoreline Restoration Protection Project. This is a pepper grant that actually yesterday, Wayne and I went to Corpus for a photo op, because we were awarded a GLO Kepper grant for this project, which we've talked about this before, but what it is, this phase of the project is the engineering and permitting to construct a project that consists of extending one of the rock jetties at Lighthouse Beach, and then constructing a new rock jetty at Lighthouse Beach to where we can refurbish the sand beach, and it'll be designed where it's not gonna, all wash away with every high tide. And also then there's some additional shoreline protection to the south, helping to protect the existing wetlands there. So that project, we had gotten a Kepler grant. Phase 1 was to do a conceptual plan, and out of that is what came up with the conceptual plan of what we need to do to protect the shoreline and to restore and protect Sand Beach. This grant does the engineering and the permitting. We do have a match amount, which is I think it's $92,000 or $97,000. We had budgeted $150,000, so we got plenty of money. It wasn't as much as we thought it was gonna originally be. And then once we get the permit, which again, you know, with Army Corps, we're looking 18 months, and that's gonna take 6 months or so to design work. So it's still a couple of years down the road, but once we get the Corps permit, then the next Kepler cycle, because they're on 2-year cycles, we're hoping to then be able to apply for construction funding. Between Kepler and Parks and Wildlife, we'll just see what's available to actually build it. So that's where that's at. Then dredging in the Lighthouse Beach boat ramp, entrance channel, you know, we set aside so much money each year, put it in a separate fund. So when needed, we have monies to dredge out that entrance channel at Lighthouse Beach. It's way overdue being dredged out. You can walk across it in low tide right now. Wayne's gotten 3 bids, and he was telling me yesterday he's looking over them, but he's probably gonna be ready to award that to somebody here in the next week, and so that should be happening soon. So in time that, you know, by springtime, people can't get in and out of that boat ramp, because right now, you know, nobody really uses the boat ramp because you can't get into it. And I think we had mentioned that we did apply for Parks and Wildlife grant to reconstruct the bulkheads for that established the channel, and then add to the rock jetties, extend them to where it won't silt back in so early. And so that, we applied for that. We should hear in a couple months, I think, whether or not we got that. I think that if we pass this first level, then we think there's some more paperwork we've got to get to Parks and Wildlife, but we'll just see whether we you know, make this first level of the application or not. So that's all I've got. I mean, as far as, again, we are in February, so we need to start thinking about what we're going to look at for capital improvement for the next budget year. I think we had talked a little bit last month, some of the things to be thinking about and looking at would be, you know, more parking at Wilson Park. Oh, on that note, I can report that we did not get the grant for the pickleball court that we applied for. So that's something whether we wanna, you know, budget for that next year, along with some additional parking. We mentioned Butterfly Park, if there's, you know, wanna look at, potentially, you know, I don't know if it would fit in or not, potentially looking at a new playscape out there. I know that you know, shade structures or something we really need to keep an eye on. You know, and Wayne and I were talking about this yesterday, that you know, the heavy canvas shade structures like we've done on the splash pads are fine. But some you can get some shade structures, they're smaller, but they're like more flimsy material. They're just not gonna last. I mean, I looked at about 3 years ago. What year is it? 20, now maybe it's maybe 4 years ago. I know in Victoria, there's a park I forget the name of it, but it's not too far from the mall at the north end of town. And they had a brand new playscape they put in about 4 years ago, I think, and it had all those fabric type shade structures all over. And I was there about 3 weeks ago and they have all blown to bits. They're just
Yeah, they're
rags.
horrible.
And they don't get the wind we do. So that's one thing I knew sometimes those can be a little cheaper to put in. But they're just not gonna last. They're not appropriate for us. So we're looking at heavy canvas or actual, structures.
Well, we're fighting wind and salt there. That's what I'm
Right.
fighting at the memorial with the flags.
Yeah.
And they wanna go to different flags, but I don't care what you put out there, that salt wind is gonna tear
Yeah,
that.
and mine in particular is really bad.
Yeah,
As far as wind goes, yeah. Anyway, that's all I've got, but again, just, when I asked you guys to start as you're walking at your parks or even anywhere in town, you see anything, bring it to us so we can add it to the list for capital improvements, whether it's next year, or the next 5 years.
thank you.
All right, one thing that when we start looking for the future, we might want to think about going back to adjourning from this meeting and meeting at one of the parks on that rotation again.
Yeah.
So that we're all out there and looking at the parks with the same eyes and can sort of all get the same vision. So we may want to start that rotation again. It's probably been a couple of years since we've done that.
One question I got, on the Hardhead Derby that they have in August, are we just confined to that marina down there, or can it be opened up like to the lighthouse piece? Give the kids more room for it? Because I know,
I don't know, that's a good that'd be a question for Tanya and the organizing committee that does that, if they wanna open it up like that.
or even at the bayfront down there, just open it up to the other peninsula on the other side of the,
I think right now they can go where I've been down there and they're anywhere within the park.
they're like flies on milk, it's just tons of, and I love it,
I've
I
seen
mean,
them around the memorial as well, fishing.
yeah. It
And
draws quite a bit of
And
public.
like, Lloyd, another thing I wanna mention to you, although this isn't technically parks right now, but at some point, all this I think will become a park, but we also, in addition to the Kepler grant that I mentioned for Lighthouse Beach, we got a coastal management program grant, that will build, a 10-foot wide boardwalk all along the seawall of Smith Harbor. And, we also just awarded a project to Lester Contracting that's gonna redo the parking lot behind Nautical Lanes and where the 10-foot wide sidewalk is right now at Bayfront Park. That's gonna get extended and continued across the marina and over to Smith Harbor. And then it'll tie into this boardwalk that takes it all the way over. Well, then eventually, if you look at the downtown waterfront master plan, then we'll continue a boardwalk through that wetlands and a loop around and come.
So if you do that, it will open the.
Yeah, and so then when that boardwalk is there, it's 10-foot wide, we're gonna allow, fishing out of that thing. And of course, we've got that big fishing crabbing deck right there down by Poor Boy. I'm sure that can be added in for fishing at Hardhead Derby as well.
That's good.
Okay, well, thank y'all very much. May I have a motion that we adjourn?
So move.
We have a motion, second?
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank y'all for being here.